Oh, out of breath. That dog. I'm Regina, and you are you. And welcome to Trans Voices of Love and Kindness. And we've got a really big show today. Just amazing. And oh my gosh, that darn old dog is sitting outside the door barking because he wants in. And of course, I started the timer first before I went and got him. And then I'm thinking, oh my God, he's going to sit out there and bark. And so then I decided, well, then it was a little more hurried than I had anticipated. But I got back to my chair with 2 seconds to go. Anyway, rapidly moving along. Oh, goodness gracious. We have got to talk about Raised Roast coffee. Raised Roast is, we're out of Dayton, Washington, www. Raised Roast. Make sure you get the spelling right. And Ash sent me a video yesterday that we will premiere on this show next week. It's about 15 minutes long, so I'll probably just start it and then the rest of us will come on afterwards. And it's pretty cool. I watched it for the first time this morning. There wasn't time to get everything all set up to do it, but it shows me roasting coffee and me making a cup of coffee. Of course, it's all about me, but it's not really about me. It's about the coffee, damn it. It's she did a wonderful job, and I'm just thrilled that she took it upon herself because I procrastinated doing the editing because I don't really care to edit, and she did a marvelous job with it. And so I want to say thank you, thank you, Ashavayahu. And so, oh my gosh, I guess it's time to do this. Remember to give me some thumbs up. We need as many thumbs up as we can get. Hit the subscribe. Oh my gosh, we need subscriptions. And if you want to know when we're coming on the air, hit the notification button. I did a surprise thing the other day on Thanksgiving to wish y'all a happy Thanksgiving, and I was on for about 10 minutes. And I know my notification buttons work because Casey showed up and I don't know who else showed up. Oh, some other people. One of my old workmates showed up too. And so it was all really kind of fun. And so, oh gosh, I hope y'all had a great Thanksgiving for those of us who live in this country, and celebrate Thanksgiving now. In Canada, they celebrated the first weekend in October. And so, gosh, I got to cook a turkey and I made a pear pie. I'll tell you what, kids, my pear pies are something to die for. I have made about 6 of them now because I made another one last night. I still had some pears sitting out in the garage, and before they went bad, I thought one more pie might be good. And lo and behold, while it was baking, I went to the store and got ice cream. And I'll tell you what, it was well worth going to the store for ice cream, and the pie was excellent too. I'm getting to be quite the little baker. Pies is my specialty. Love my coffee. What are we drinking? Nicaraguan Ethiosar Natural this morning. It's a naturally processed. The Ethiosar is an Ethiopian varietal that is, originated in Ethiopia, and wonderful coffee. It's better than I had anticipated. I'm really pretty pleased with it. So rapidly moving along, I want to talk about core values today. And this is like kind of important. You know, I saw a deal the other day about, it was Greg Braden, and he says he didn't think anybody knew what their core values were. And I thought for a couple of minutes, and I really like, oh, what are my core values? And so you think about that while I bring these other kids in here, and we're going to start off with Christy today because we can. And so here we go. And we'll talk to you all soon. Hi, Christy.
Hi, everybody. Hello.
It's good to see you. Oh my God,
good to see you, Regina.
Comments already. Oh,
wow, it's busy. That's
yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
by the way, elevate your being.
Elevate your being.
So,
okay, well, I'm going to add Casey.
Okay. Hi, Casey.
And unmute yourself, Casey.
That's better. Hi.
And Lara. Now we're all here.
Hi, Lara.
Hello, lovelies. How you doing?
Good. You?
Oh, good.
I'm doing great.
Oh, we didn't say anything about Dreamland Comics. Or what? Oh my gosh. I got the name wrong. Dream into Reality. Woo!
It's okay. It's okay.
Sorry.
Yep. So Dreams into Reality is the name of the comic, and we're a partial sponsor for the show, and it's really just the story of my transition and how it affects those around me. Hi. And it, several people have said it's a good comic, and I enjoy doing it.
Thanks, Casey. Okay. Talk away, kids. So what do you think about core values?
Well, for me, it was one of the topics that we discussed for the week and maybe for this show. So I got a head start. I started my homework a little bit, and probably have a little bit better idea than I did 3 days ago. So I've done the exercises like that before, so I feel like I had another step on it all. Anyway, how about the rest of you?
Oh, I thought it was really timely for me, perfect to just kind of like regroup and reground myself with my core values. I remember a friend of mine a few years ago, out of the blue, phoned me up and said, "Hey, would you like to do this? I got this little thing to fill out," because she's taking some course, and she said it's to help a person find their core values. And I thought I knew them until I did that questionnaire, but doing them, it felt kind of weird sitting there. You didn't think you should know them, but I labored over all the questions, but it was really worthwhile in the end, and it really brought me back to earth with who I am and what I really, who I want to be, right? So I love the idea. It's great to revisit it here, and I think we can always unpeel a few layers and get back down to who we are, what we stand for. So I love this conversation. I love the conversation we had over the week. It was great.
Well, what do we got? Where's my things to throw up, Casey? Where's that definition?
Oh, yeah.
And here's the one that Simone did. The first step in identifying your core values is defining your identity, including your strengths, weaknesses, preferences, and long-term ambition. Well, our long-term ambitions on this is to be better citizens of the country,
Mhm.
you know, so that we can vote our core values and know what we're looking for in politics and in just everyday life. Everything is really turning into politics anymore, and we really need to be able to know ourselves and what we want to follow and who we want to follow and the things that we need to do. Yesterday, I watched a documentary about the fires in Australia, just to give an example of how core values can affect us. And you know, they had like 30% of their country burn up last year, and it's because of climate change, and the people in power refuse to acknowledge that climate change is happening. They've never had fires like this before, and because the weather patterns are changing, they get really dry, and this fire started, and it's and that's a whole ass continent, and it's a landmass. It's bigger. It's comparable to United States and Canada together. I think a little bit smaller than that. Bigger than the United States. A little bit smaller than North America. And and that's a lot. And we've had a lot of fires here on the West Coast as it dries out. You know, we had drought from Arizona up through Washington last year and on into Canada too. And so these are things that we need to start looking at. And one of the best ways to look at it is like assessing ourselves and see where we want to align and to go forward in time. I'm I think that, you know, for myself, it's time to start talking about this stuff because
Well,
it's critical. If we want Casey's kids to still have a planet, we need to do something. If we want our grandkids to still have a planet, we need to change now. And until we start talking about that and coming together as a peoples and putting it out there that this is what needs to happen, it's not going to make any difference. You know, we need to stop it. We need to do some serious soul searching. And what are our core values? You know,
well, I I think all these calamities that are happening around the world, like they just happened in BC. Like they had flooding that never been recorded like that before, and landslides and whole towns like washed out and just you know, and then the opposite end of that, fires. And there's like everything. Those things are going to keep happening until we wake up and start talking about them and doing something about them.
well,
And
and part of the problem is we get no media coverage. You know, the media ignores stuff like that,
well, they
and
certainly
and
don't want us
and
to talk
and
about it.
so we need to speak up about that.
Yep.
So,
Create our own media.
what was that, Casey?
We create our own media.
Well, here we are. So
Well,
let's
here
get
we are
started.
creating our own words, our own voice.
There.
Core values are feelings and beliefs that operate in the background of your mind and influence your behavior.
Now, this is like, oh, I just had it. A lot of times people are like, okay, well, that's my, those are my personal, but my professional might be a little different. But either way, there's still background, there's still beliefs that operate in the background. and link and being able to kind of combine or skew the line between them is by figuring out which core values are applicable in both cases. I know that one of mine is service, and I enjoy it. And relationship at school, at the school I work at, because I'm creating these relationships with the kids, and in turn they are words, but they're more prone to liking me as a person. And the fact that I started this job as my authentic self made that so much easier to do, because I'm already doing the things that I feel are me, and the coworkers, they pick up on it. Like, kids pick up on it faster, but still, like, there was Thursday. No, not Thursday. I was off work Thursday. Tuesday. I was subbing in a different classroom, and like, it was my first day in the classroom, and within 10 minutes of being in there, just the way I interacted with kids and the relationships I was building with them, within the first 10 minutes, they were climbing all over me as if I was a jungle gym. They, like, one would fall and cry, and they come over to me and get a hug. Well, they've been with the teacher for the last couple of months, but they came to me, who's only been there for 10 minutes. And I think that kind of thing says a lot about, specifically my core values, but core values in general. If you have grown your core values in an authentic way, it eventually just becomes second nature. And being able to have those values that play both in the personal side as well as the professional side helps them to come together. And then you don't have to feel like, well, I'm acting like a different person at home than I do at work.
I like that
I love it.
innocence.
Yeah, I like this one. Discovering one's core values is a journey of growth. I've learned that our core values can change as we age, whether for better or worse. Amen. Yeah, and that's just fine and dandy. I think one of my favorite things to call my core value is authenticity. I mean, holy shit. And another thing that has changed over time is I would put honesty. It was one of my core values since I transitioned. I can now be honest. Before, life was a fucking lie. Oop, I wasn't going to say that. Life was a lie, and so here we are, and now I can put honesty out there.
Well, I think that I like the one you had up just before Toby's too, where she talked about innocence.
Mm-hmm.
It instills an ability for us to carry that innocence, that joy, that that's like the essence of being a child. And what you were talking about, Casey, they just innocently responded to you because it's just a natural instinct that way. If we can be, if we can nurture our core values, we retain some of that innocence. We can be silly or fun, or and that makes us approachable. Like we're not like up on a pedestal somewhere, like the old teacher that's kind of like got a grim face and teaching all the kids some really important stuff. Well, it's all important, but from the point of view of our core values, we can make it fun by being authentic, like you said, or being innocent, or being well, it shapes our behavior. Whether we realize it or not. If we're ignoring, what happens if we ignore our core values throughout our life? If we always go out and give everybody what we think they want us to be instead of just being authentic, oh my God, that's a disaster. Like that's what's wrong with the world these days, I think. I mean, that's why we have very little willingness to make the changes we need to make so we can have a world to live in. Our leaders need to be authentic.
Well, our leaders need to be really true leaders and do something for the benefit of mankind as opposed to just for the benefit of their bank accounts. And I don't care who we're talking about. That talks about family values, and I've come down to decide that their family values are misinformation, cheating, lying, and dishonesty in general. So what kind of family value is that? If that's what you take home, gosh, what a happy home that must be. I mean, we need to have consistency in our core values. Earlier, we were talking about professional core values and personal core values. And I don't see why there should be that differentiation. I mean, core values is who we are as people, and you should be that way all the time. And there's disagreement about that, and amongst us, and that's okay. Y'all don't have to agree with me, and we're not here for answers. We're here for questions, and what more can I say about what we're here for? It's simple, because none of us are paid professionals. We're just human beings that are, crazy enough to do a show on Sunday mornings to talk about serious stuff. We want to see change in the world.
So what can be our core values? How can we,
by being authentic, by being kind, by being loving. I mean, I'm just loving awareness. That's what Ram Dass tells me that each one of us is loving awareness. I choose to embrace that. Is it one of my core values? I'd like to think so, but I'll let you be the judge of that. All I want to do is help people and be kind, be honest, be authentic. I mean, that's kind of like my core values right there.
We're so often challenged on those very kind of core values.
Nobody said it was going to be easy.
No, it's not.
I mean, that's it. I mean, we can stray off of that. We can have a bad day.
Yeah.
And but when we have those bad days, we need to reassess. Whether we do that self inventory and in the evening or in the course of the day when our spark plug is fouled, and do you keep driving with a dirty spark plug, or do you stop and clean it off?
Well, when we're fouled, I think sometimes we need to bite our tongues and give ourselves a moment and
start the day over again. I mean, there's so many things that we can do that are authentic, kind, and loving. I mean, we don't have to keep going down the bad road, but you know, what are you? Oh, it's too bad we can't be Tootsie Pops, chewy chocolate at our cores. Well, there's a thought. It's too sticky.
Yeah. Well, we if we put a little sweetness into our activities of the moment, wherever we're at, something sweet's going to come out of it. It's our actions become who we are, right?
Pretty much. I mean, you can act your way into a new way of thinking, but you can't think your way into a new way of acting.
Well,
That's the
so
bottom line.
if it's our core values to always try our best to self-evaluate, as you say, then we're going to give ourselves a moment if we need it. We're not going to like honk our horn at the person ahead of us because they didn't start taking off from a red light soon enough.
My ass.
Like we're going to find some compassion.
I'm honking, baby.
You're going to honk? No, I'm going to wave out the window. Offer them some sweet chocolate. You got me.
There is a reason that I don't drive in Seattle, Portland, any of those larger cities. And
oh my God, we went out for a drive last night. My partner and I just wanted to go for a drive. So we went for a drive and got some gas. There's an excuse to go. But we were out there and we got to the corner around our place at the intersection. There's a lights there. And across the street from us, someone blanked their horns. You could see them stop and starting their car because the person was on a left turn signal. They could make a left. And they just the person who was taken off from the intersection to make the left was just crawling, doing it so slow and methodically. The person behind was irate, couldn't handle it, was ready to just I thought they were going to smash into that car and try to push him in. I don't know, but core values just went out the window when that person went in that person's case, if they had any patients at home, or maybe they have lots of patients at work, but then they get away from work and they're on their way home and it all just comes rushing out of them. They want our core values are challenged when we're transitioning from one thing to another. They're challenged when we're at work and we're confronted with things. They're challenged at home when we're with their
let's take this comment here. Our core values are mutable when faced with the group mentality and the need to belong and be accepted. Tribalism can easily influence our values despite who we really are. And I think that's one of the things that is needs to be addressed, because I think that we need to watch that getting sucked into things that are, it's like if we watch Fox News all the time, pretty soon we take that negativity on and we're not much different than them. And so, and that's kind of what this is saying, is a group mentality. It's like going to a freaking conservative rally, and if you're not waving your flag and your gun in one hand and a flag in the other, woohoo, I exaggerate, but
but it's relevant because the tribe that you're in. I like the analogy of tribalism, that just that word conjures up a lot of thoughts in me, because who's my tribe? Well, you guys are my tribe. You gals are my tribe here. But I have little circles of other people. But my community, who are my community, my tribe? And do they install the same kind of core values that I aspire to? Self-evaluation again. That word keeps coming to my mind. Like, do I just follow them blindly, even though they may not be embodying the core values I feel are right for me? I think we do that far too often. We sacrifice ourselves for something that isn't even good for us.
Right.
So yeah. So
So,
I think a lot about the tribe I run with.
well, I think it goes even beyond that. Say you're in downtown, let's throw it out there, Portland, where there's still a lot of riots and whatnot that go on a daily basis. And so you're standing there watching, and it starts moving your way. Do you pick that rock up and throw it, or do you let your core values take over and go do something else? Decide to leave the scene. Those are some of the things I think that Toby was referring to, is like the old lynching parties from the old West. Oh my God, they're so bad, and people forget about the whole story. So then they attack the jail, break the dude out, string him up in the tree, and then come to find out somebody else was the perpetrator. And I mean, those are things we have to watch out for, and that's what our core values are good for. So I mean, we know what's right and what's wrong, but sometimes we get caught up in that group mentality, that group think, that you know and so it's nice to be aware of our core values.
Well, self-awareness can be another core value as well. I mean, we don't necessarily have to have a finite list. And like Simone says, not everyone's values are the same. The
Absolutely.
actual list itself may not necessarily, won't be the same. What order they're in may not be the same, but we do have similarities. So like um happiness, relationships, diversity, and we may have those in common, but for each person they may be higher or lower on the list, and that's okay. But we can all at least agree that we all share those in common.
For me, one is holding space for others, allowing them the breathing space to be who they are. That's really important to me. And I've kind of like I put that up on my Facebook page as something that I want to be out there. But am I really like that in all my affairs? I don't think we're ever going to be perfect. It's something that we need to keep coming back to and reaffirming. Whatever you feel, you're right. They're different for each of us. And oh yes, here's family, resilience, simplicity, diversity, humor, all these things. So we might see two or three of these, like what you just posted, as things that we personally might want to put at the top of our list. Like, if you're a teacher, you might want to embody creativity or.
But I think this list of examples is a great example about how it's, those are just words. They're not necessarily everything that you could have as a core value. It just says right at the top, examples, like everything
Yeah.
that I thought was important to me is not on this list, other than like happiness. But there's things that are there that are very similar, like self-awareness, inner peace, happiness, intelligence.
Yeah.
And you know, so it's a cool thing. I mean, our core values can be whatever each one of us wants it to be.
They're just
You
as
know,
unique as
what
we
are
are.
our values? It's an individual thing. That's and then it's like there's a mission statement for this show, something that we came up with, all of us, that is kind of the core values of what we're trying to do here. And you know, it's interesting. I think I love it. It's a question that I have no answers for.
I'm reminded of, like, when I was growing up, by something I heard. Why is that person always one way on the phone or at work and different at home? The two didn't seem to connect. We talked about it in the pre-show chats. That question about, you know, being authentic in all of our affairs, or, you know, it's something I've thought about off and on throughout my life. Am I really the person who I want to be everywhere, no matter what? I'm kind of shocked at times. I'm not always really portraying that my core values is clearly in my actions as I think I am, because I'm just not. I'm not seeing them. I'm not seeing that I'm not. I don't even know that I'm not doing it. I fall into these traps or of sort where I react to a given moment in a certain way, and I don't even realize that maybe if I applied my core value to that actions, I might have a different outcome. But I don't know. It's interesting to think about.
Right. I mean, we're not perfect.
Yeah.
We
No, not really.
can digress from our core values and then regret it later, or correct it, or whatever. I mean, they're kind of guidelines.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily cut in stone, or they could be cut in stone. We're just human beings. That's why we have no answers.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we can question anything that we want. Um,
The beauty of our human nature, that we can
yeah,
do that.
you know, oh my gosh, just great comments going on.
Yeah, I know, they're amazing.
And,
We have shout out to all the beautiful people in the chats and out there that come and watch your show, Regina. I don't know if I heard you say that, but I just want to say that. Shout out. We love you. We appreciate you all. We absolutely love that you're joining us and sharing your thoughts. And we couldn't ask for more. Oh, I don't know. But ideally, should strong core values be immune to emotion? That made me stop and pause. I don't know.
well,
My
emotions
emotions.
are probably the thing that gets in the way of core values, don't you think?
Yeah,
Because
maybe it's.
sometimes, you know, our emotions, which we should be responding to and not reacting to, but many of us react quickly and don't get a chance to respond. And when we respond, we'd probably be following our core values, but when we react, we might not be.
I think we can learn and train ourselves to acknowledge our emotions, but at the same time be true to our core values. I think that's something you can do. I know myself, even really more recently, because we're always growing in this. I've noticed that there are things that I don't react to quite as startled with anymore. I mean, I allow a greater view to come into my thought process that I just didn't do even a couple of short years ago. So, always room to grow for sure.
So yeah, I don't know, the emotion thing. I'm kind of getting hung up here. Is where do I? I'm just struggling for words because I've already said it, and I'm just trying to figure out a different way of saying it. But if we take our emotions and when something like makes us angry, that's an emotion, and we can react to that and say something that might not be kind or might not be true or might not be any of those things that I want on my list. And if I take the time to think about that and then respond, then I'm not breaking my core values. This is something that we have to work on with anger and not lash out and not be caught up in the emotion and react to it, but just respond to it calmly or whatnot. In the case of anger, I mean, that's the one that always comes to mind that makes me think that I'm.
I freeze me. I have this thing where I freeze. It's a learned behavior where I'm startled by something, and the root of it for me is I've discovered is traumas from my past. Things that I reacted to emotionally but didn't know how to deal with properly.
Mhm.
So I think about that right now. If I learned at a young age to freeze and be silent, and I'm still like that in my 60s, that means that I've probably muted or hindered my own development. And in a way, we hide ourselves from our own core values. I noticed myself, I'm less and less likely to be silent now if I disagree with someone, but I don't. But today, because I realized that when someone triggered me, and I've been able to look at that action within myself, how I react to it, I can identify it as an emotional response that I need to overcome. And how I overcome it is by going to my core and then finding strength there. So for me, finding inner strength is the core value. You're right. It's going to be different for everybody.
Mhm.
And it's our emotions are part of a human nature. We're going to always have some sort of a little bit of a struggle with them because we're always going to be confronted with them.
Right. And it's like Toby is saying here, the mirror gate that showed who you really are. And so when we get to that gate, that's what core values, what this today is almost like the core values. Hey, let's take a look at our core values and
She's referring to the never-ending story. I'm just cluing in. I'm slow sometimes. I love that movie so much. I learned so much from that. Even years later, I think about it. That's
Like
that,
many of us cover our eyes to who we are out of fear.
yeah.
I mean, here we are in a group of trans women for the most part, and some of us transitioned early, some of us didn't. And so how many of us covered our eyes to who we were out of fear? I mean, how could you
Yeah.
be more honest about and so that, you talk about changing core values, I mean, and that's probably why it's a good thing for me to take a look at this, because I had all these core values back here and I'm not even beginning to be honest. I'm not being authentic. I'm not doing any of the things that today I love so dearly. And like the interpersonal relationships that try to build with people, I did not ever do any of that before. And here I've got all these friends that come in and visit with us on Sunday mornings, and you too, and Christy, and all these things are, so different from what it used to be like for me. And because I was afraid, fear about being honest with myself. So,
Or we might value not being judgmental. We might have had a lot of experiences with being judgmental of others, putting people on a pedestal. So by, looking at that within myself, I can find when I'm doing that, and if I nurture looking at people in a more level playing field, then I'm going to allow a space for them to not have to be fearful of me, or I was on a train of thought when you were talking, Regina, but now I lost it. So I can be like a little butterfly. Sometimes I'm just like that, I guess. The flop went away, but I don't know. Is honesty a core value, or is honesty what happens when we display our core values? Or see there, back to the beginning, the first little meme that you posted, that Casey, it's the underlying thing that permeates out of our behavior, that if we're living under a veil of not being authentic, then it's pretty hard to let your core values seep out too.
Mm-hmm.
so then I
Yeah,
don't know if you guys have been following this,
the comments, I love reading them when you throw them up there,
or merely
Regina.
avatars on a matrix. This whole thing is we're all make believe in the matrix. Oh my stars.
So
Anyway,
are we part of a dream, or are we creating our own dream? Or, thinking about the matrix, there's a whole world of people, that's groundswelling of people that are trying to grasp the idea of authenticity, of being true to themselves, of being one with our earth, with nature, with the stars. It requires a lot of self-evaluation, like you've said a few times, get to that place of
yeah, it's just something that needs to go on kind of like doing a daily self inventory. Our how to live by our core values, and when we go outside of that, do we have to make amends, or what? You know,
yeah.
uh, there are ways of dealing with that, and Ways to look at it. Hey, Barbara Ann, good to see you here today. I haven't said hi to anybody today. Hi, everybody. I'm so glad you're all here. I think it's time to spend a little time in the chat room. I've been like throwing up stuff from everybody, but and Casey's been quiet.
Well, your
I need you to
little
speak
one's
up.
been playing there with you, so you've been like distracted a bit. That's okay.
I haven't said hi to Francie. I've pointed.
Yes, kindness. I think that's my favorite word. I mean, I recently put a song. I heard a song that was basically that's the only word that was in the song, pretty much. A wonderful man, Isaac, created a beautiful song. He plays on the guitar, and he calls it kindness. And it just exhumes core value in the way that I feel about that person, the way that they are. So it becomes you. Best pear pie ever. I don't think I've ever had a pear pie.
Oh my God, it's the best, as Simone said. Just crazy. I never said hello to Aubrey. I've flashed her stuff up there several times, but I haven't said hello. Hi, Aubrey. And I've said hi to Toby, and who have I missed? I don't mean to miss anybody, so.
Well, last week, we didn't get on here last Sunday, but that week before we had a transgender week of awareness with transgender day of remembrance, and there was researching that, looking at that. Every year around that time, we also have Remembrance Day for those lost in the wars that we're fighting for, that freedom that we all, feel connected with, that we want to be able to keep. I don't know where I was going with all that, other than to say it's lingered in my mind. There's so many places I look where core values seem to be missing from the equation. The actions people feast on others, and I would hope in some small way we cause people to look at themselves a little bit, that we can find it in our hearts to support people that are just trying to be who they are.
Well, we do the best we can.
Yeah.
And and then it's up to individuals. I mean, it's about taking a look at ourselves in front of everybody else. It's about being the example, being the change that we want people to be, I mean, not everybody, I don't want everybody to be like me. My God, what a boring world that would be. I don't want everybody to be like anybody. I want everybody to be themselves. I want you to be you. But I want you to have strength in who you are. I want you to have power and understand that we can do this together. It always comes back to unity with me, because we can do so much more if we're unified. If we're a bunch of individuals with individual power, with individual strengths, and doing things together, we have power. We are a force to be reckoned with. But if we go off in splinter groups of 2, 3, 4 people, we got nothing.
Well, that's just
We
in
got
keeping
nothing.
with the medicine world teachings that I hold so dear. Exactly. We all have a place to where we have our little special gift in that circle. There's unity in that circle, but there's individuality in that circle. There's room for diversity. There's room for a uniqueness to be each of us. And yet we can still have that community to support each other. And
Well,
those are kind of like part of building our core values. Remembering our, we were born with the ability to have those core values. They seem to be innate in each of us. In a way, I kind of see that there a possibility is there for everyone to have them in a way that is nurturing within the circle altogether. I mean, we don't have to be isolated in separate little circles all over the place. We can be uniquely beautiful and amazing and in that circle together.
right. I couldn't agree with you more, but but
But
I guess what I'm talking about is if we're not going to stick together on issues like climate change, on and this is a big thing because I really feel like this is getting to a critical point. And if we don't start sticking together on this stuff and being heard, nothing changes.
yeah.
And so like let's work our core values and because for the most part all of us here want this world to continue on without and back off from the catastrophic droughts, the catastrophic fires. We want to like get our world straight again so that it's not going to happen in my lifetime, but I want it to happen for Casey's grandkids. I want it to happen for my grandkids. I want it to happen for everybody's future generations. And if we don't start changing now, if we don't start sticking together now, and I don't care what your political party is, I don't care about any of that. What happens is we need the world to quit using those fossil fuels. We need to figure out how to keep the Arctic from releasing all the methane gases that are stored in the tundra, that we need to figure out how to keep the Greenland ice caps from melting or the Antarctic ice caps from melting or whatever, whatever little climate thing you don't want to see. What are we going to do to stop it today?
It's interesting. Like COVID showed us that it's possible. As a world, the world got behind the truth that there's a disaster happening in front of us that is so life-changing that we have to get together. We still, the whole world's tried to adapt and alter our behavior in light of COVID. Maybe not everybody agrees with it, but there's enough people on this earth that took notice of it, that changes moved us forward with something, if we did nothing, if we just ignored it like we do climate, where would we be right now? With COVID being the way it was, it necessitated us to really come down and look at our core values. So it's possible. Maybe I'm an optimist, but I believe it's possible for us as a community of people here on Earth to come together and find our core values. I don't think they're all that different from each other, no matter where we are on this Earth. I think if you really dig deep, you're going to see that the core values are kind of universal. There's something worthwhile in pursuing them.
Mm-hmm.
They'll instigate change if we, these disasters at some point they have to make us turn around and go in a different direction. And I don't think it needs to take 5 lifetimes to happen. COVID showed me it can happen now. It can actually happen now.
True.
We don't have to. They accept that we could. I hear a lot of people, the scientists are talking about they're like the climate change thing, that conference that was on, and they're talking about holding or not limiting the growth of our climate change to some number, the magic number. Well, in order for us to not that, if they held it where it is today and didn't add to the things that are creating global warming today, then we're going to be living with all the disasters and calamities that are happening around this Earth. And it's going to be tragic. At what point do our core values drive us as a people to just say no and turn around and go in a different direction?
So let's go back to core values. Our values also depend on how others view us. Do they?
Some of
When
them
we're
can.
told something over and over, it is easy to believe it. But if their perceptions are based on a mask you wear, then it reinforces your own lie. And that's a pretty heavy statement.
Yeah.
Some of them can. Some of them.
Well, the thing is our parents telling us how screwed, is that on us or is that on their parents? I mean, it doesn't change my core values. What it makes me want is to fight back against, repression or against lies, against other people. It's on them if they are telling us stuff to, make us change our opinion of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's this kind of the thing that drives me to do this is finding ourselves to be authentic, to be, to shed all that crap that's been heaped on it. Everybody says what anomalies we are or whatnot because we're trans. And pardon me, but fuck, we're just human beings.
Yeah.
Enough of the bullshit of what people tell us that we are. We're just people who are trying to live authentically. There's a big difference between what I used to be like and what I'm like today. And today I much prefer who I am. And I can sleep at night. I don't have to worry about what other people think of me because I'm just me.
I'm just still thinking about what Toby says here, and I'm thinking about I'm reflecting on my own experience growing up. So I built things. A go-kart. I remember a little buggy you push as a kid, and all my dad could say was how bad it was. He pointed out every flaw in it. I kind of grew up thinking that I'm stupid. I took that on. I allowed that to be. But as a young, impressionable child, I didn't know any better. So I grew up into an adult thinking I'm stupid. I'm not smart enough. It reflected on my ability to go to school and learn because I didn't think I was capable of learning by the time I went to school. And I fortified it. So how could I possibly understand my core values if I'm too stupid to figure it out? I'm saying it bluntly, but it's true. I had the biggest fight of my life to overcome that dogma about what other people tell me I am. And
Well,
it's something that I had to take back my life and start finding a way to believe that I actually wasn't stupid. I'm quite capable of maybe not like the brainiac, but or different from other people, how uh, I can learn how I learn things. As it turns out, I'm very artistic. I have a love of creating things, and over my life, I realized that artistic creativity kind of came out, even though I didn't nurture it. My God, now that I've let it out, I've set myself free, and I'm not really giving a rat's patoot about what other people think about what I'm doing. I'm creating like all kinds of stuff, and I'm always like astonished that actually it's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know.
so here's Christy talking about what I had showed Toby put up there a little while ago. I had an older person tell me I'm going to help her put others first and not taking time for me to be me. She knew when she saw it because she saw it in her head. But I always look at helping others as being a core value for myself. Serving others, helping others is one of the things that I learned how to do. And yeah, there's times when you also have to learn how to say no. Interesting, I guess.
What if that core value includes limiting how much you might help certain people, or how you might exclude certain people from a list of people you would help for whatever the reasons are?
Bye,
Sounds good.
Audrey.
Oh, Audrey, you're taking off. It's great seeing you, dear.
Nice, Francie. Yeah, she left.
Yeah.
I think she might
About 10
still
minutes
be
ago.
here. 11:04. What time is she? Anyway, goodbye, Aubrey.
Holy cow, it's already 2:15 almost. And we didn't even scratch the surface yet. We're running
It's a big
out of
topic.
time. I don't know where the time flies on here. It's just, I just love being on here with you guys.
You
Chatting.
cannot control the thoughts of others or what others think of us. It is their perception which does not affect my values. That is the truth.
Yes. Amen. It's true.
And then on the other hand, you wouldn't worry about what other people think of us if you knew how little they did. They don't think about us all the time. We're not mainstream in their minds. I hope not, anyway.
Except when we're in their face.
Oh, well, too bad for them. Amen. Finding my own core values was how I became myself. Francie's on a roll. What's Christy saying? I agree, Simone, but I think some people are just after all they can get and have little or no consideration for others, the future generations, or the planet in general. So true. So true. But that's the kind of people that we do not want to have in power. My dog prefers Regina just the way she is. Tank. Simone tried to take Tank away from me this weekend. Oh my stars. We had so much fun. We had a good time. So much fun. Thank you.
Did you guys get together, you and Simone? Like,
what's that?
You guys got together, you and Simone?
She came up for Thanksgiving.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. The Thanksgiving video that I did had her sitting in the background back there.
Was that you? I saw that video. I watched that. That was you, Simone, sitting in the back over by the window there. Ah. I didn't catch on till just.
I love this. Tank is like what Plato said in Republic Book 4. Your dog is a true philosopher. My dog is a true philosopher. He is filled with love and kindness.
Is it their core, or is it absolutely just? It is their core of who they are. Thank you, Sarah. There is helping others and enabling others. Well, there's also enabling others to be their true selves. Mm-hmm.
A positive and a negative enablement.
Yeah. What's house God? Serving others might not be the core value, but peripheral to possibly the desire to awaken to the good. You and me both, Christy. I still struggle
I'm still
with
learning
saying
how to say no,
especially when it's a handsome man.
I have a hard time.
Oh my God!
My partner always tells me that.
If you don't take time to take care of yourself, you can't be as effective in helping others.
Yeah,
we're gonna help each other after this podcast. We're gonna make a nice sweet treat. We're gonna make we found online. So my core values for the afternoon are gonna be all about sweetness.
My pet offers unconditional love too. I'll tell you what, my dog is my rock. You know, he always greets me when I get home. And, you know, when he knows when I'm down.
He's heavy like a tank.
Interesting. I don't know what the vessel theory is, but whittling down those aspects of you that most count.
I've never heard that phrase or expression, vessel theory. Tank is...
He'll dominate the woofer. Oh, I love that. Yeah. So, okay, let's get this show on the road here. Where are we at? 1:15. Oh my God.
Did you have any more little memes that you had found, Casey? No, just those two.
Just those two.
Oh, that's good. They were awesome though. They got the ball rolling for us.
So anyway, hey, let's wrap this up. You know, I've loved our conversation today. I think we did a pretty good job with this. I hope anyway.
Well, I don't know if we came up with an answer for anything, but we certainly
I didn't promise any
created some.
answers.
Yeah, no,
There was
You
no
know?
promise of answers.
we had a good
If
open
anybody's got
discussion.
any questions, now's the time to ask, because we'll probably just answer with another question, because I don't
Yeah.
have answers.
No.
Anybody have any questions they'd like us to tackle in the coming weeks?
We'll do our best not to answer them.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I love talking about stuff, but I'm not sure that there's such a thing as an answer. You know, the trouble is we come up with an answer to some question, and then that becomes the answer. And so then we close our minds to expanding on that or doing anything. Say the data changes, but we've already got the answer, so we can't adjust our answers. And so that's why I don't like to come up with answers, you know, is because they're not permanent. So here's good. If you change a few letters, it become whore values.
Oh my God. So
What does that mean? Well, it means that Simone, dang
it
it.
would be like hors
I
d'oeuvres.
can't believe that you are like bringing this kind of stuff to the forefront here after you learned all that stuff about me and you know.
Hey, I'm gonna say that everybody can, no matter values, no matter what you might phrase them as, they're important to the person who thought them, and we have to, you know, it's where you see yourself in the world. But then again, maybe not. I'm never going to come up with any one pat answer for any of these things. I'm probably going to leave here and think about that now.
Hey, I'm about to thank you for letting me know.
It's like sculpting. Yes, hey, Toby, that's going to be my final thought.
I love this analogy here.
I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
What's that? What'd you say?
I was literally thinking of that. I was thinking of it like it was clay. I was like, I literally had that thought in my head, and I was gonna say something, and then I lost the thought. But like it's clay, but we're wearing that mask often is like setting it in front, setting it down, and letting other people mold it. They're molding us. Kind of what I forget who it was earlier, but saying something about
yeah,
perpetuating our own lie when we're letting others model the clay form of us for us.
Yes,
we have to take away
the hands. Let me do it to myself. Let me mold myself. Let me nurture it with freedom, with truth, with honesty. Let me be authentic. Only I can do that for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so we take away all the excess stuff and we come up with voila. I love that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You come up with I am me and you are you, Regina.
Removing all of the people who are negatively are molding the clay in a negative way, and keeping the positive clay influences.
I love this. Get rid of the gunk that isn't really me. I like that.
You can always add a little more water and remold the clay too. Mm-hmm. You know, it's never fixed in stone. I like this clay thing. That's amazing. I was thinking something how to mold something, and then you posted up about the clay. Same thing too. Yeah, I like this.
It's all kind of the same. All kind of the same. Wonderful, wonderful, great comments.
We love you. We appreciate
Yeah,
you. We're so happy that you joined us today and tried to zoom into our core value topic.
Oh, my
Yes.
stars. Time to go. I'm about to
I know you're
starve to death. You know, this Sunday morning stuff, I have to get these guys out here early to talk to me because I haven't talked to anybody for about 12 hours, you know, and my mind is just
I apologize for getting into our little Zoom thing a little late when we were in our pre-chat there. Then we left you hanging there by yourself. Everything turned out great.
So anyway, it's been a pleasure, my dears, and we will see you later. Let's say goodbye. Good night,
Bye.
everyone.
We'll see you. Ta-ta.
And thank you so much for the video, Ash. Loved it. We will premiere that at the beginning of the show next week.
Oh,
And
can't wait for that. Cool.
It was just fabulous. And Toby, good comments today. Thanks so much for participating, along with Aubrey and Simone and Christy. Thank you so much, Christy, Sarah. You know, who am I missing? Francie, good comments. Oh my gosh, Barbara Ann was here. Everybody that didn't say anything, love to all. Oh my gosh, I'm just so afraid I missed somebody. Did I miss anybody?
Just in case, we love you all.
I think you got
Lots to
everybody.
look. Anyway, love you all. And we will talk to you later and we'll do our little outro.
Walk down the road.
Outro.
Bye-bye.
Hey, bye-bye all.